What is up, guys? It is King Acorn85, and I'm here for the first developer log of a game I've been working on for a couple weeks now. The work in progress title, internally, I've been calling it Garden Plaza, but I think externally I'm calling it Piñata Plaza. Um, so, I thought I could go over a couple things in this video and show off some progress I've made. Um, there's some obvious things you can see right off the bat. The cursor, very similar to Viva Piñata, Trouble in Paradise, and alike. And I wish you could see my controller right now, but it all works right now with an Xbox 360 controller, Xbox One controller. Any controller should work. So, some base things I showed off in a Reddit post was the ability to move around and have the cursor do that, fade in and out. There's currently no audio. I'd like to add audio pretty soon, just some basic stuff. So right now on the top right, you can see my option is press X to switch tool. And if I do that, it pulls up this UI. It's scaling not properly. It's not properly scaling. There's a lot in progress, so I'm going to be saying that throughout the video. And if I press B right now, it closes and I can go back to moving. Currently, I'm using the same stick to move, to uh, pan around between um, the objects. I feel like this video is going to run on too long, um, but I want to mention that almost everything you see has been written from scratch and has been created by scratch. Some things that I have not made by myself include the grass texture, the shovel model. So there's that. I guess I'll get to that. I'll just, as things come up, I'll explain whether they're original or not. Um, so if I press X to pull up the menu, you can't move around. You can move the camera because that seemed fine, but it pulls up this menu, and I'm rotating around the left analog stick. So if we switch to the shovel, you see it animates in. Another thing it does is, oh, I'm now realizing it's not doing that, but it should be. See, if I open this and then press B, it emits some particles, just like in the game. Um, but it's supposed to do that when it comes in, but it's not. I'll get to that. So the shovel I did not make, and the texture on it I did not make. That's something that I will be replacing. So in the top right, you'll see dig hole. Currently, I pressed A to dig that, um, and I did not make that dirt texture. Um, but I'm going to be switching that to the seed bag. The seed bag is currently in the works. I'm going to quickly switch to the watering can. Okay, so it does the animation there. This watering can I made from scratch. It doesn't look good, but it looks like a watering can, and I made it from scratch a couple weeks ago, so I'm pretty happy with that. There's some weird things there, but all this will be updated, maybe by a professional modeler, maybe not. So you see in the top right, if I press A, I start pouring water. And that UI is nothing special. It's mine minus the plant icon and the skull, so basically nothing. Also, I obviously didn't make that font, but if I keep watering it, it will die if I overwater it, so not good. So let me switch back to my shovel, dig another one, and then switch back to the watering can, and I'll try and keep this guy alive. So there's that. Okay, so if I hover away, well, man, if I'm watering something and then I stop, I can press B to back out of the UI. So then another thing, this thing I'm really proud of, the surface packet. This texture and model is both made by me. I say that with a lot of confidence. It doesn't look great, but the fact that I had the ability to make it by myself, I'm proud of. So this was really fun to implement. I haven't mentioned that I'm using Unity 3D to create this project, but currently I don't have an animation for it, but if I press Y, that's the wrong thing. Oh, shoot. If I press Y, it changes the texture. That's sand, and that's dirt, obviously made by me because they don't look great. But if I switch to sand and then I press A, I can start painting the texture, the sand, the surface, onto the garden, and obviously not outside. The sand texture is not mine, and I'll get it out of the way now. This dirt texture is not mine. Same dirt texture is here. Let's see if we need to water this plant. It could use water, but it's not required. Okay. So You can switch through on the surface packet here. Why do I keep getting the controls confused? It's my game. So you can switch through the surfaces, and then I can put all that back to sand. One thing I'd like to fix pretty soon is how you can't uh, place plants on sand, but the way I tell the user that right now is in a gross text in the bottom right. You'll also see when I plant stuff, it costs 250 pieces of candy. I'm not a fan of the golden coin system, so I'm using candy instead. Um, so there's that. So if I switch tools, this is a work in progress. You can see I have like basically nothing. I don't even know what that says. Or I know it says work in progress seed bag, lol. But there's nothing there. But you can see that you'll be able to press A to plant a seed and Y to change the current seed. So let's switch back to the shovel. And if I press Y, I don't know why the UI in the top right. Oh, I'm in the middle of changing the whole tool system, so you won't be using a seed, anything with the shovel. But currently, I can change the seed to plant something like a bluebell. There's a lot of balancing I'd like to do. Oh, there's the rows. Made the rows from scratch, texture and model. Nothing special. Will eventually be replaced, but there's something. And this is a bluebell. You can see when I hover over these. Let me back out and switch to my selection tool. You can see he's nearing death. But as all plants do. And so you'll soon have the ability to change their names, but you can see it's a rose. You can see this is a bluebell. You can see how long they've been alive. So currently a plant lives for 300 seconds, or no, 180 seconds. And when it dies, the plant will release a rose petal, which I can sell for some candy. And piñatas are actually able to eat. One thing I don't really have in this current version that I'm displaying. Let me just do this because it's fun and it keeps me occupied. Um, is the piñatas actually work? This is a piñata. Doesn't that look great? There's really nothing to it right now. You should be able to select it and it should say stuff about it, and it obviously should have some visual to it, but it doesn't. Um, and it will currently go into the garden. If I timed everything right, again, I need to tweak certain things. The piñata would currently, it has the AI to come into the garden once it sees I think this one needs a couple bluebells and a couple roses. And so it'll know when those things are in the garden, it'll come in, it'll eat them, and then it'll slowly become a resident. Um, that's obviously a huge part of the game. Pinatas being able to become residents, different flowers, all that stuff. But that's currently a work in progress while I get the more basic stuff implemented. Um, so yeah, I think progress has come along really well. All these textures here I made from scratch. No, they don't look great, but the fact that I was able to make them in Paint, Paint.net to be more specific, I'm happy with them for now. Make sure that guy's watered, so you'll be able to see the bluebell. So yeah, I wanted to show some of the work I've done and maybe start making videos like this because I know people have been enjoying seeing the content and enjoying seeing Viva Piñata fan game. I'm walking a thin line. I have no intention to recreate Viva Piñata, Trouble in Paradise, Viva Piñata, any of those things in a way that is would take away from the original games. These are a spiritual successor in a way. There's the bluebell, nothing special. Spiritual successor in the way that I'm using no assets from Viva Piñata or any of the series games. Um, None of that. It all will be made from scratch or by a professional that I pay. Um, but who knows where it's going to go. But I've been working on this for a couple weeks. Wanted to share. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you're wanting to make things such as models or textures, I currently don't have the ability to pay for them. Um, but if you're interested in being involved in the game, being credited, whatever that entails, maybe eventually being paid, contact me. I'd love to see some stuff you've worked on. See, this one's worth a little more, but it costs a little more. So yeah, this is what I've got going now. I'm sure there's some stuff I'm forgetting, and there's plenty of stuff going on behind the scenes that I haven't showed. If people would maybe be interested in a code video, I could clean up my code a little bit and show that. So yeah, this is all being done in Unity, Blender, Paint.net, all by hand. I'm having a lot of fun, and I hope people enjoy this video. So with that, thank you for watching, and if I pause, I can quit. So see ya.